Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of February 6th through the 12th of 2023. Alright, so this week we have a bit of a quiet week early in the week. We did just come off of that full moon though on Sunday. So coming into this week is certainly a time of integrating any shifts of awareness that may have come in around Sunday. Even the early part of this week, Monday, Tuesday, can still have that full moon awareness. But all in all, it's a good week for implementation, seeing what new perspectives have been shifted from around Sunday and how we can integrate that for the whole week. We do have some sextiles with Mercury and Venus those first few days. Monday, Mercury, the planet of our minds and communication, will be sextiling in harmony with Neptune, the planet of receptivity and spirituality. So could be just a bit of an opening there for using some imagination or our intuition, or maybe some receptivity in our communications. Can be great as well. Venus, the planet of values and relationships, is going to be in a sextile with Uranus, the planet of innovation and change. And so maybe around Tuesday, Wednesday time period, maybe some new experiences there with enjoyments and relationships. It could be great. But most of the energy is concentrated towards the end of the week. On Friday, Mercury is going to pass over deep Pluto. So there's a transformative energy happening, which happens about once a year with our minds and with our communications. And so our minds are certainly going into the underworld. And so we could be excavating deep information, knowledge, research, psychology, the occult, all that hidden world, and perhaps also communicating in that deeper way as well. Saturday, Mars sextile Chiron, some more healing with maybe some of that assertive energy that's been going through healing really the past 6 months with Mars retrograde, sextile Chiron. And then on Sunday, going into next week, we have some sign changes. Mercury, mind and communication, going into grounded Capricorn, and Venus, value and relationships, going into receptive and spiritual Pisces. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, February 6th, and as you can see here, we are using the visible sky, which is very different from mainstream astrology. Unfortunately, mainstream astrology does not use the visible sky, so the signs will be different. And so if you are noticing some of these placements are different, like the sun in Capricorn right now when you're expecting it to be in Aquarius, definitely check out that link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, so let's do that recap here and see where everything is coming into the week, since we do have some sign changes on Sunday, the end of this week. But we have the sun continuing its transit of Capricorn, the constellation of responsibility and discipline and long-term stuff. And so good to view life in this way and take that sort of long-term view and patient and responsible approach to things. So great to incorporate some of that grounding energy there, and maybe even achievement-oriented energy with some of that. Venus, actually let's go to Mercury next. Mercury is finishing Sagittarius. Mercury, again, the planet of our minds and communication, is in free-spirited Sag. So it's certainly a great time, as it has been, and we probably learned a lot during this past retrograde that Mercury was retrograde in last month, about the importance of thinking big, being open-minded, and being adventurous with our thoughts, with our ideas, and maybe a bit jovial or open with our communications as well. So this is now definitely moving forward with Mercury at full steam ahead, but still great to expand our mental horizons and even communicative horizons perhaps with some of that Mercury and Sagittarius energy. Venus is finishing Aquarius this week. Again, Venus, values and relationships, and Aquarius is that innovative energy. And so it has been good to connect to life in a more innovative way, to connect in our relationships in a more unorthodox or free-spirited kind of way, individualistic way, basically being open to change and freedom and non-attachment has been a great connection to have, not only in relationships, but also to life, and enjoy that kind of innovative energy to life while Venus has been here. And again, Venus will be in here all the way through the week until about Sunday, when she then will go into Pisces, which we'll talk more about. But Mars in grounded Taurus, he's still slowly building his momentum. He's a much slower mover than Mercury, but he is. And so things regarding drives and goals and initiatives should be moving forward. And as a reminder, though, good to take things one step at a time. Mars in Taurus was a big lesson last year for all of us in terms of really taking things one step at a time, connecting to the more, again, grounded elements of taking action, and really cultivating our inner resources, self-worth, self-value, which has, I think, already been integrated, and now it's a matter of implementing some of that with Mars now direct. Okay, so that's the placements coming into the week. As I said, the aspects aren't very major this first half of the week, just these couple sextiles, which are really minor aspects, but certainly some openings we'll talk about here. And I would say most importantly about the early part is we did just have that full moon on Sunday. And full moons are certainly a time of making shifts of perspective and having a shift of insight and such. And so with whatever did shift with your perspective about your life journey, or maybe where you made some pivots or some shifts along your life journey recently, could be a great week for implementing some of that, as we will be in the disseminating phase of the cycle, which is about integrating that full moon insight and new perspective. Now, Mercury is going to be sextiling Neptune, and one thing I do want to add here is that that full moon was right in between Cancer and Leo. If you haven't yet seen that video, definitely do check that out, talking about the full moon. But the moon now is well set in Leo for pretty much the first 3 days, Monday through the early part of Wednesday. And so great for, again, cultivating that self-expression. That's really what the full moon was about. Cultivating more of that self-expression, creative energy, vital life force, love, passion, playfulness, right? More of that creative energy of life. And so these first few days really are great for, cultivating that. And on Monday, Mercury will be sextiling Neptune, so there could be a bit of our minds in the ethers a little bit, which can be very constructive, especially if there's anything you're doing that involves imagination or intuition or spirituality, even in your day-to-day routines, as Mercury can often signify our day-to-day routines. So a bit of opening there for that receptive approach to things. And even in our communications as well, we might find that it's just a little bit easier than normal to have a bit of that compassion or acceptance or reciprocity, unconditionality with that harmony, just an opening to receptive Neptune. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, as we finish that Leo energy, Venus, the planet of, again, values and relationships, will be in a good harmony up to free-spirited, individualistic, eccentric Uranus. And so it could be good to maybe have a bit of new experiences, enjoy some new experiences in life, maybe connect with others in a way that is a little more of that individualistic or freedom-oriented, or having new experiences kind of thing. So good to innovate, get outside of our comfort zone a little bit. Just, again, a little bit of an opening for that, minor opening for that with that sextile there. All right, then as we get to the later part of Wednesday, the moon will shift into the next constellation of Virgo, where the moon will pretty much be for the rest of the week until midday Sunday. And so the second half of the week, really good for essentially taking that self-expression of Leo and then incorporating it into very tangible, day-to-day and improvement-oriented forms. So this is taking the inspiration and making something of it, or taking the interest and grounding it into the day-to-day life. So Virgo, great time, second half of the week for improvement, orientation, routines, healthy habits, personal development, our work and service, right? All this getting into the details, finding solutions to things, fixing things, taking care of things that need to be taken care of. Great time for that improvement orientation there with that. All right, so again, that's going to be going all the way for the rest of the week. Then as we do get into the weekend here around Friday, Mercury will be getting quite close to Pluto. And so this is usually quite transformative time of the year as our minds are really going into the underworld, Pluto. And so usually it's about uncovering some deep stuff. And I think with this, it's a great time to do so. Uncovering deep stuff about ourselves and about life and whatever else our mind is interested in at that time. And as a result, really a transformation of perspective, a sort of death and rebirth from the perspective, right? We change when we go to the underworld, right? And so as a rebirth of this, as a result, as we get into the weekend next week, a sort of death and rebirth of the mind, of the perspective. And that should lead us to feeling quite empowered and transformed as a result. Also could be involving, of course, communication, as Mercury is involving that as well. So we could notice deeper communications, a good time to practice things like trust or intimacy or vulnerability or truth, right, in conscious ways. And so great to also go into the underworld with our communications, so to speak, and perhaps noticing a transformation to those as well. This is certainly the most important aspect that we have this week. And anything that is on that level, I think, is a great way of working with it. Conjunctions are inherently neutral, but it could be challenging just because it's difficult for anybody to go to the underworld. But inherently neutral in the sense that it's all about how we work with the energy, which is the case anyways. But yeah, definitely more neutral in nature. Then as we get into Saturday, Mars will be in good harmony to Chiron again. This was part of Mars's very long retrograde since October. And so just a nice, perhaps, finalization with some healing. I think, again, we learned a lot about our needs, our assertiveness, who we are, what we want. And the sextile to Chiron has certainly helped that. And here we could be feeling maybe a bit healed, rejuvenated, refreshed, redeemed, maybe redeem some of those qualities of ourselves. Again, at least just an opening for that, as sextiles are really just openings that can be used or not used based on our free will and our choice, really. All right, and then Sunday we have those sign changes. So the moon, first of all, will be going into Libra, and so going into Monday of next week could be good for a little bit of fairness and balance in our lives. That's going to be the second half of Sunday. But really the most important shifts here is going to be Venus and Mercury changing sign. So starting first with Mercury, Mercury is going to be going into Capricorn, out of more free-spirited Sagittarius after those deep transformations of Pluto. And we could notice that along with the sun here, there's just adding more of this energy around how we can use our mind in a way that is constructive and disciplined and grounded and maybe towards some of those long-term views of things. And then Venus leaving Aquarius, going into receptive Pisces, where she is considered exalted, where she likes to be here. And so we could notice for the coming weeks, maybe just a little bit more of an enjoyment in value for the receptive elements of life, especially as Venus gets closer to Neptune here. And so things like rest, peace, going with the flow, again, maybe in those relationships as well, receptivity, unconditionality, acceptance, we'll probably notice more of a theme with, and again, just enjoying more of that can be great. All right, everyone. So that's a lot, but not really. It's a quite simple week in the sense that it's a week of integration of the full moon insights around Sunday. We certainly have the support to do that with these easier energies this first half of the week, really incorporating some of that self-expression of Leo. Most of the shifts are towards the second half of the week. Mercury over deep Pluto is transforming our perspective, our minds, and our communications. And a bit of a rebirth out of that leads us into a more grounded mind or responsible mind, as Mercury will then shift into Capricorn. There's a little bit of an opening for some of that healing and rejuvenation with Mars sextile Chiron. And then sign shifts. Venus going into receptive Pisces and Mercury going into that responsible Capricorn on Sunday. All right, everyone. So have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter. We do get these videos released first before YouTube and extra content not normally released on YouTube. Do sign up down below. If you haven't yet, it's absolutely free. But again, have a great one, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.